Hi guys, Angie Bell with My Fairy Treasures. Okay, you guys, I wanted to share my piece for hashtag Use Your Digi Sunday, and I did want to let you guys know before I get started, this is a collaboration between me and Shonda from Slim Cards. If you would love for you guys, for anyone who'd like to join in, you can join in or hop out at any time. There are giveaways there's a giveaway at the end of the month. It can either be cash or it can be a big box of goodies, which is awesome too. And all of the guidelines, which are simple, guys, it's nothing, that's not a big deal. All the guidelines are below. So just check out the guidelines below. Like I said, you can hop in or hop out at any time. The main premise of the whole thing is to use your digital images that you have in your computer, whether it's digital images, digital stamps, comic book pages, that digital scrapbook paper, anything digital, because so many times things get put on our computers and we forget about them and we don't use them. So it's just another thing in our craft room that we don't use that we're encouraging everyone to use. Now, if you happen to use one of my digital images, which is like this funky, I call it my little funky hippie fairy. If you use one of my digital images from my shop, you get 2 extra entries per project. And my Etsy shop is www.myfairytreasures.etsy.com, and the link is below for that also in the information. So I just want to go ahead and start sharing. Just looking for something really quick to show you guys. I don't think I have it in here. Okay. So anyway, I just want to go ahead and start sharing my piece with you. Oh, and before I forget, I do want to say something. So saddened by the horrible news of Prince passing away. I'm a huge Prince fan. I have loved his music since the day I heard it. Yeah, I know, guys, some of the stuff's a little weird, but he made so much great music, just so much great music. And like everyone says, he is a musical genius, in my opinion. When you can play over 10 instruments, and your first 2 albums, you play every single song, or you play every instrument you play every instrument of every song in your first 2 albums. You are kind of a genius. So, it's been really neat over the last couple of days. Not his passing away is horrible, but really learning about who he was, some of the things. You know, we didn't learn everything about him because he's really, you know, kind of a private person, but learning some of the things. And definitely, I guess it's called the Paisley, I think it's like the Paisley Palace, or he called his home Paisley, I think Paisley Palace, something like that. So anyway, I think they're talking about making it like a museum, like they did Elvis's. So if that happens, me and my husband are definitely going to go there and check that out. So anyway, I did want to talk about that before I got my video started. Okay, so like I said, this piece is a funky hippie fairy in her little magical world. And I love doing these type of pieces. I love doing this type of work. I'm going to go through it and explain what I did. And before I start, I did do this piece 11 by 17, and I made prints, 11 by 17 prints. So if you do happen to like this piece, it is for sale in my Etsy shop. If you like the little funky hippie fairy, the digital image itself, not color, just the digital stamp, the digital image is, and you want to color it yourself, it's also in my Etsy shop. So let's just start at the top. Okay. At the top is a cool sky. The sky I hand painted in. And the reason there's a sheen on this, you guys, I shellac everything with a clear varnish at the end, which I love because it just adds this, I don't know, well, this glossiness to it, and I think it makes it look really cool. So anyway, at the top here, let me make sure of everything I'm seeing so I can come up to my camera. So the sky here I painted in myself. This is all hand painted in. A few different colors of purple I meshed together, and a few different colors of blue I meshed together, then I meshed those 2 together. And I think I used acrylic paint for that. And then I drew in these little circles here, and I actually use this little thing in my room. This thing. Oh, actually, no. I didn't. Sometimes I use this right here. I put a little white on it, and I'll go like that to make my little moons or my little worlds, but I didn't use this. All of these were wine glasses in a magazine, and so I cut, okay, so the stem of the wine glass is here, but the center part, they were showing it from, if you were looking at it from the top, of a wine glass. So if you're looking at it from the top, it's going to be circle, right? So I cut that piece out, and they were really cool colors, and I put those in. I painted over them, but the base of them was that. Like this one is pretty much almost the same, but I added a little more white to it. This had some of the same colors, but I added a little purple in. This one I added a little more purple and white. That's the inner rim right there, but I added a little more white and a little purple into it. So I touched them up with paint a little bit to really mesh them into my sky good. But I liked how they looked. And then I encircled them with white. I have all these shooting stars that I painted in. Little stars, and then the shooting stars. And then you can see the wind here. So I just take my finger with some white paint, and I go like this. And get that going. This is a magazine part back here. It's a clock. But I painted, when I painted the sky in, I painted right over the clock, lightly, so the clock just barely shows through. It's not even a clock, it's a watch. And then again, I did the shooting stars over that. And then there's little birds, too. The birds are in the moons, the different moons I have, or little planets, whatever you want to call them. And that's the thing about my paintings, about these paintings that I do, is that these are all little worlds within worlds. And you can make up your own story. I'm just telling you what I did and what I'm seeing, but when you look at this, there's a ton of different things going on. There's a ton of different little micro worlds going on, and a ton of different stories that you can make up yourself. So, and that's what I really like for you to do. Okay, this right here was at one time closet doors. I completely painted over the closet doors, and I made it like its own little world here. So up here is a waterfall, and there's people walking across the waterfall. Let me make sure what you guys are seeing. Yeah, you can see that. There's little people. Those little black little figures here are people walking across the waterfall. The waterfall is dripping down over the bird. There's shooting stars coming out. There's little birds. Okay, and that's the other thing I was saying. This is a bird that I cut out from a magazine too. But I completely painted this bird. That bird is nothing the color that it was. I painted it to make it look like a sky, and I put little clouds there. So his little body is now its own a little world. So I put clouds there. I put the little birds, shooting stars. All that's going on in this little bird's body now. And on its beak, I have water dripping off, like the waterfall, off of its beak. This was a cake from this magazine that I have, this wedding book magazine, which has gorgeous dresses, gorgeous cakes, gorgeous jewelry pieces. I love this magazine. I got it for 50 cents at the thrift store. And the magazine is like this thick. It was probably a $14 magazine normally. And that's the other thing I want to say. I use magazines, old books, I use everything, okay? But this stuff is all old, from thrift stores, garage sales, and sometimes off the side of the street. So I like these pieces because I call my pieces salvaged art, because I am using stuff that's going to be thrown away that's going to be thrown away and just mucking up our earth again, even more. And so I just feel like I'm doing my part when I am saving a magazine from going into the minefields again, and landfills, and monkeying up our earth. Why not turn this stuff that people are just going to throw in the garbage, don't take it and throw it into your art and make art out of it. So take something that's, going to end up something negatively into the earth and make it something positive and make it into art. So that's what I'm doing. So back to my piece. So this is a cake, and I have dripped water off of every level of this cake and made it into a waterfall. And I don't know if you guys are seeing that. Let me make sure that that cake is showing up. Let me go down a little bit. So there's the cake I was telling you about right there. That's what the bird is sitting on top of. So he's sitting on top of a waterfall. But at one time, it was a cake. Okay, this is interesting. Let me go up a little bit. See this mountain right here? This purple mountain? Well, that's something else I want to say. I'm going to back up. I'm going to do a little rabbit trail, as Dee Dee Willingham says. I have really gotten into purple. And this is before Prince's passing. I don't know why. I did this project for Kimbo Creations, and it reminded me of how much I love purple. And ever since then, I have been on the biggest purple kick, and I cannot get enough of purple. And, I mean, look at her hat's in purple. The sky's in purple. I just love purple. I just started painting my toenails purple. So I just thought that was interesting that, that I've gotten into this purple. And the other thing I thought was interesting is that I was on YouTube listening to a lot of artists talk, and just about their art and how it is to be an artist and just all these different things. Well, on the side of an artist, of course, came Prince, and I started listening to him about 2 weeks ago, on and off on YouTube. And this, like, I have like this passion for purple now. So I just thought that was kind of interesting over the last 2 weeks, and then his passing. So anyway, I don't know what connection that is, but it was kind of interesting to me. So anyway, back to the picture. So this right here is a pant leg, okay, in one of my clothing magazines that I have, like a Vogue or whatever. So this is a pant leg, and I turned it into a mountain. I think that was really cool. And then I took it and I drifted, like, you know, snow all over it. This right here is a piece of lace that had something hooked to it, so I made this into like a hill, and then I have people walking in front of that. And then this is a piece of lace here, actually. So I just made it a part of the landscape, and I have water or snow or water, whichever one you want in your little world, dripping off of here, and we'll say it's water dripping off of here. And the people are walking over, let's say, the waterfall. This is a flower right here from a magazine, and I made that into another little waterfall. This is the other part of that leg, pant leg right here, and I made this into like a little hill. And in that hill, within that hill, so that's a hill here kind of, but within that hill, I made it into another little world. So I just, with my finger, looked like this, and made little planets or little worlds. So worlds within worlds. And then, again, I have more of the shooting stars going across. And let me make sure that my camera's down low enough so you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay. And I can come in a little tighter. Yeah, and you know, let me move some of this lighting. See if I can move it kind of off my picture. That's better. Okay. All right, so down here is this was a watch. I cut off the bands, of course, and then I put some more little planets on top of the watch, and then on top of that, and then I painted them in different colors, and shooting stars all over this watch, and then within the little worlds, again, I put little birds, and there's little birds. Oh, is there little birds there? No, and more shooting stars, and then over here, this was a ring in that wedding magazine I was telling you about, and I made it into a little waterfall. So I put water up here. It's dripping off this ring. There was a blue sky in the ad, and so I put little clouds here. Okay, so I made that into its own little. So this whole little thing is its own little world. Here's a waterfall. Here's the sky back here. I put the little clouds in, and then I put little people in here, and they're fishing. So let me come in really close so you guys can see those little people fishing. I think it's really cool. See? See the little people? They're in there fishing. Okay, then let's come over. Okay. This right here is a bird. You can barely even tell. I painted this up so much you can't even barely tell. But this is a little bird. I made it into a little water feature. I painted in his eyes, like little shooting stars coming out of his eyes. And the water is dripping off his head and off of his beak. And then off his back. And all this water is dripping on down over this waterfall down here, which I don't think you guys can see yet. I'll show you that in a minute. This right here is an upside down wine glass. So if you turn it upright, it's a wine glass, and if you put the stem. So here, this wine glass is upside down. It's missing its stem, and it's upside down, and I made that into its own little, like a little cave, like a little green crystal cave. So I thought that turned out really cool. Okay, let's move down, people. Let's move down. Okay, you know, let's come out a little bit. Okay. We will, okay, right there where the fairy is, to your left, I believe, is another cake. It's another wedding cake, and I think it's gorgeous. This wedding cake was so beautiful. If I had a wedding again, this is how I'd want my cake. It is clustered with flowers. The whole thing has flowers. But I thought how gorgeous would it be to drip water off of this entire cake and turn it into a waterfall, because then it would look like it's like you know, like a little forest, and there's all these, like, it would be like a big, huge, you know, mountain or rock with all these flowers all over it. And, you know, and it has all these waterfalls falling over it. So that's, to me, what it looks like. Look how gorgeous that looks. And then all that water, the waterfall is dripping down into the lake below. And I hand painted that lake in below and the water splashing up. Then here's my little funky fairy. That's what I'll call her. Funky fairy. And I love her. I love her with all her beautiful blue hair, and her hair is, I wanted her to look like she was rising out of the water. That's why I have the water like splashing on her. So she's rising out of the water into her little fairy world, and she's a funky fairy. I love the justification of the fairy wings with the beautiful hair and that hat tipped over one eye. And I know, guys, lately I've been into the one-eyed fairies. I do not know why, but that's what's coming out of me. So that's what I've been doing. Okay, to your right of the fairy, there's more water and more splashing. And to the right, there is a little mountain going up the side, or a little hill, and it has like flowers and stuff. I found that piece in a magazine. I've kind of hazed it over with white to make it kind of misty. And it kind of looks like you could swim around. It looks like you could swim like in front of her and go back over into that little hill of flowers. And then if you go up, that is where another cake waterfall is with the bird. And all that waterfall, that cake waterfall, is falling right into the water right there. So let me come out. Sorry, guys, so you guys can fully see it again. And that's the full piece. Okay. So that's it, you guys. I just wanted to share that. Like I said, if you want to join #UseYourDigiSunday, me and Shonda from Slim Cards are the ones that are collaborating on this. Join in. Read the guidelines below. If you use an Angie's Angel, you get 2 entries into the two entries into the giveaway instead of just 1. And if you want to join in, read the guidelines below. And I think that's it. All right, you guys. Have a great Sunday. Talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.